You're listening to Witch Wednesdays, your weekly podcast source for all things witchcraft in the modern world. Join your hosts, Steph and Tara, every Wednesday morning as they dive into a new witchy topic. Welcome back to Witch Wednesdays. This is Steph.
And this is Tara.
And you are listening to episode 25, Litha.
Woohoo! June 20th.
We love our holiday episodes.
We do.
What is Litha? Litha, or midsummer, is the celebration of the summer solstice. It can be celebrated on the actual solstice, which is the longest day and shortest night of the year, or it can be celebrated for all of the days surrounding it, which would be from June 20th to the 23rd in the northern hemisphere and December 20th to the 23rd in the southern hemisphere. Litha is the transition from the light half of the year to the dark half of the year when the days start getting shorter.
Correct.
Litha is more widely celebrated by Wiccans specifically, but you can absolutely still celebrate it if you're pagans. And Wiccans celebrate it as a time when the god and goddess that were married on Beltane that we talked about are now pregnant. So it's time when the deities are at their most powerful and passing that onto the land.
Yes.
I don't really know anything beyond that because I am not a Wiccan. I just know that kind of in the cycle of things, Beltane was when they got married, and now Litha is when we're celebrating that they're pregnant.
Yes. So this is a time of abundance. It's celebrated a lot with all the bounty of the earth, a lot of fruits and vegetables. Well, I eat a lot of things for celebrating. So a lot of garden fresh fruits and vegetables are coming in this time. Also, it's a time when the god is considered stronger because if you've ever known someone who's pregnant or been pregnant yourself, pregnant women are both strong and incredibly weak sometimes just because of all the hormones moving on. So this is really a time when the god is at his strength. And it's
no judgment.
No judgment at all. Like, that's hard work. So the sun god is at his strongest, and it's a time of basically, like you said, pregnancy and growth. So a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables. And yeah.
Yes. Fertility that is transferred onto the land. So it's good.
Basically. Yep. You did an excellent summary.
Yeah. Another belief surrounding this holiday is that of the Holly King and the Oak King, making it also a transitional period rather than just the celebration of the abundance of the crops. So it's believed that the Holly King battles the Oak King for his position on the throne, and the Holly King succeeds the Oak King, which brings in the dark half of the year. So as you can imagine, then during Litha's opposite on the wheel of the year is Yule, and that is when the Oak King wins, bringing back the light half of the year.
Correct.
So many Wiccans believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tara, that the Holly King and the Oak King are simply two different sides of the horned god.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the same as if you say the maiden, the matron, and the crone. They're all symbols of one.
Yes.
They just wax and wane depending on the time of year.
Yes. Excellent. Glad I got that.
You got that one great.
Beyond just the gods and goddesses associated with this holiday, it's also thought to mark something called the trooping of the fairies, which I think just sounds so cute. But this is mostly prevalent in Celtic countries, but it's believed that this is the time of year that the fae that exist on this plane gather together in large groups and travel from site to site as they migrate across countries. And it is believed that they will stop at people's houses and collect offerings. So this is also a good time to connect with them if you want to work with them.
Well, you remembered that the last holiday, it's when the veil is set. So traditionally, this is thought of as when there's enough abundance to be shared. So the fae come over and they spend the summer wandering.
Yes.
So it's a time of abundance, but we also share that abundance. That's why a lot of offerings are of wheat and honey and milk, things that are not going to traditionally be around in the winter because we have them to share now. So before we get into all of the different ways you can celebrate, run through the correspondences really quickly. The colors are the colors of summer, really. They're very bright and vibrant blues, greens, and golds. Mm-hmm.
The animals associated with Litha are snakes, bees, butterflies, eagles, and seahorses. The
I didn't know the
crystal,
seahorse ones.
yeah, seahorses. I like that
I
one.
didn't know.
The crystals are jade, emerald, topaz, amber, onyx, and tiger's eye. The herbs are thyme, chamomile, fennel, mugwort, and elderflower. The flowers and trees are oak, beech, lavender, honeysuckle, and peonies. The foods, you know we love our foods,
Oh, always.
are pastries, potato salad, honey and lavender cookies, Litha bread, and wine. The incense and oils are saffron, orange, and frankincense. And the spells that are best done around this time of year are those for love, luck, money, fairy blessings, and happiness. So all of the different ways that you can celebrate, as always, you can wear the colors of the season, decorate your altar. Since it is the solstice, one of the really fun things is to watch the sunrise and the sunset on the actual day because it's the longest.
I always do that.
I know, I do too. I feel like that's like, it's such an easy one.
But it's so nice. You get your coffee, you go sit. It's lovely.
I love lazy witchcraft, and I feel like that's one of the easiest ones, but it's also therefore a really good day and time to charge your crystals, because you can either charge, we'll get into crystals, but you can either charge them with solar energy or lunar energy. And so if you're charging your crystals with solar energy, this is the perfect day to do it.
Because it's the longest day of the year.
Exactly. In general, a great way to celebrate this day is to just get outside, do some outdoor meditation or grounding. We talked about that. There aren't, I wouldn't say that there's a ton of, not as many as May Day. There's not like a ton of things going on surrounding Litha, but at least in Chicago, there are a ton of things called midsummer.
Yes, there's a lot of midsummer, but I would be leery. It's not the same as May Day, and
yes, it's definitely not celebrating. Separate. Yeah, it's definitely not celebrating the traditional pagan aspects of it. But if you just want to get outside and celebrate and wear some flower crowns, you can go to a festival for midsummer. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I don't discourage that. I was going to say they're really fun, but I would just be leery on this one because a lot of the holidays we talk about, there are correspondence that you can easily find. And while this is very similarly timed, the celebration is usually quite different.
Yes. But we are all for celebrating anyway.
Yes, every which way.
Another good thing to do this time of year is to eat local foods, because once again, we are celebrating the abundance, and especially things that are locally grown. Like if you're like us, where you live in the Midwest, it's a short season. to get things locally, like local fruits and vegetables and honey and things like that. It's a limited season to enjoy that. So this is a great day to do that.
This is actually a really good time. Me and my friends usually have a picnic, and we do everything with fresh fruits and vegetables. And that's a good way to celebrate with people that maybe don't necessarily want to celebrate the holiday, but it's a good way to share the abundance of what's been happening.
Yes. So, and if you're going to do that, it's also a good time, if you wanted to pick berries and gather herbs.
Yes, I always gather herbs on this day as well, because it's a good time to do it.
As a note, just be not just a good witch, but a good human in general. If you're gathering herbs, the general rule of thumb is to gather no more than 20% of what the plant has to offer, because that way you leave enough for it to keep reproducing. And also you should leave an offering like water.
Yes. And be very careful of any roots you gather.
Yeah.
Don't take 20% of the roots. Take only what is offered, but the roots are, be very careful on that.
Another thing that you can gather at this time of year, it's also a good time to make wands or besoms, which are the brooms. We've talked about that. But people who hand make these and make their own often use fallen tree branches that they find outside. So it's a very popular activity to do this time of year.
Also, just on a side note, for those that are paying attention to the range of dates Steph is giving, you'll notice that this is earlier in the year. That's because 2020 is a leap year. And because these are all based on astrology and how the planet aligns to the sun and moon, it changes. And because of that extra day thrown in early, you'll notice that our holidays are kind of moved from where they may more traditionally be found.
Yes. So I'm giving you ranges, but obviously, look up the astrological day if you want to find the exact time.
This one is actually the 20th.
Yes. If you want to, look up the exact time of the sunrise and the sunset and enjoy all of that.
That's all. How about you?
Let me see if there's anything else on my list. Oh, the last thing that I think is a fun way to celebrate Litha, because we talked already about tarot cards, pendulums, divination, things like that. We went over that this is considered, half of the cycle. If you really think about, Litha being opposite of Yule on the wheel of the year, it's a good time to do the half cycle divination. A lot of people do that this time of year because, as we said, between like the Holly King and the Oak King, this is considered bringing in the dark half of the year where the days start getting shorter. So it's a good time to practice divination by looking at what's coming between Litha and Yule, sort of looking ahead to what those next few months offer in terms of what's coming in your life, what you should be ready for, what the universe wants you to know. I know we talked about doing, cyclical divinations where we kind of go from holiday to holiday as like a shorter time period. But if you wanted to look at a full, 6-month period, this is a good time to do it.
Yes. This is an excellent time to do it.
And that is the last thing that I have.
Okay, sweet.
So that sums up all that we have for you on Litha. So let us know if this is one of the holidays that you love to celebrate. You can find us on Instagram. And we will, as usual, be posting pictures of whatever we are doing. And don't forget that we are going to offer subscription boxes. So when we have enough people interested, you let us know.
Let us know.
We're getting close. So let us know on Instagram. We are taking polls, and feel free also, if you would like to leave us a voicemail. It lets you know at the end here how you can do that if you want to tell us how you celebrate this particular holiday.
And I am interested in that. This is not one of the traditional holidays that I celebrate a lot, other than eating a lot of food. So
yes, that's same for me. So far, all of the holidays that we've gone over have been not really in my wheelhouse. Wheelhouse. See what I did there?
You're so funny. So clever.
I'm so clever. I am dark like my soul. I like all of the dark half of the year holidays. I like Samhain is my favorite. Yule, Mabon, Lammas, those are mine. So
yeah, I like all of them. This one is hard for me because there's so much sunlight and it makes me so happy, but then I know the darkness is coming.
See, I like the darkness. So I'm like,
I get sad that the darkness is coming. This is basically the bell toll.
That is all we have for you this week. We will see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Witch Wednesdays with Steph and Tara. Love our content? Consider donating at anchor.fm/witch-wednesdays to help keep our podcast up and running. Please leave us a voicemail on that same site if you have any questions or comments, and follow us on Instagram at Witch Wednesdays Podcast.